The views, comments, and opinions of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of Morris Media Studios, MorrisMediaLive.com, or its affiliates. Listener discretion is advised.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah.
And good afternoon and welcome to the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. And we have our guest from last week, Ms. Linda Sam.
Welcome. Thank you.
I'm glad you're here, but we got a great show for you guys today. We have Mr. George Fraser. We're working on the technical part of it, but he's going to be Skyping in shortly. And we're going to talk about how we create generational wealth in our community and how and why that is so important that we need to be dealing with this, guys, because we're at the cliff and there's a now or never kind of situation going on. And so he's going to talk about that. So as soon as we work that piece out, we will have him here. But in the meantime, and then Mr. Gilbert is on his way. He had an appointment and he should be en route very shortly. But in the meantime, me and Miss Linda gonna hold it down.
Yes, because next week, George will be here.
Right, on the 30th, right?
Yes, Thursday, January the 30th. He is scheduled to be here in town for an amazing event. LaRon can put that flyer up and let them see it as we talk about it. It is going to be at the Crown Plaza.
And it's networking to create generational wealth, which is, I cannot tell you how important that is for us right now. This world is so chaotic. The political world is chaotic, which, that it kind of embraces the whole world. But then there's us.
Yes.
And us is in we're in a crisis right now, and George will definitely tell us what that's like. But there's just so many things and so many opportunities that is not availed to us even in 2020.
Correct.
And here we are in a new decade, and we really we're at the end of time.
Yes.
It's now or the never. And so there are a lot of us out here working toward making it better for right now. For me, it's really not about me, but it is about our kids.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I think about what is this world going to look like for them? I mean, when you think back how you grew up and how I grew up, it was we had some challenges, but it was kind of idealistic, right? I didn't know my mama was broke.
We didn't have the internet that we could Google and find out that we broke.
Right, exactly. We had no idea we were broke because the house, they made it appear like we weren't broke.
Everything
we needed, everything they felt we needed to have. We got it, right? But today, but our future, we could say, I'm going to go to college and I want to be a doctor, or I want to be a lawyer, or whatever you wanted to be. There was no obstacles for you being that.
Correct.
Right? You just said, this is what I want to be. And if I put my hard work into it and I study hard and I stay committed, I'm going to be exactly that.
You can halfway obtain it.
But now our kids, they can't say that.
No. Drowned in debt, credit card debt, school loan debts.
All kinds of, they start out their adult life in debt. Mm-hmm. And then on top of that, they don't have all the resources as far as life skills that we had. We were a lot more savvy when we were young people.
And that's what somebody just posted the other day. What happened to woodworking and cooking and
they took it out of the schools.
Took all that life skills.
Life school. I was telling, I teach kids how to be entrepreneurs. And,
Margaret.
And I was talking to a couple of kids and I said to them, what is it, if I were, because we're coming up with a business idea, right? So I said, so if you think about in your surroundings, what is lacking? And so these kids are between the ages of 13 and 17. And we don't know what it's going to look like to live on our own. We don't know how to shop. We don't know how to go grocery shopping. We don't even know how to open bank accounts. We don't know how to cook. We don't know how to clean. We don't know how to, they don't know anything.
Wow. I know that because I got a 17-year-old and I had to walk him through this road of life.
Yeah, it's life. It's life.
Your life skills are far more beyond your phones and your tablets and your games on those computers.
Exactly. So that's my biggest thing. That's what I'm really concerned about. Now, my nephews, we get on their nerves, actually, because we are always on them. And so they know to come. Like this morning, my nephew had a situation. One of his co-workers wanted to switch days with him for work. And so he asked me, he was asking his mom, so do I do this? But I think my boss wants to monitor me on Monday and Wednesday, and she wants me to work for her tomorrow at 8 hours, but then she wants my Monday and Wednesday. And so he's like, but I don't want to say no to her. I don't want to make enemies at work. And I was like, well, run it by your boss, because if your boss is monitoring you on Monday and Wednesday,
that's more important than her.
Right, exactly. I said, so have her, because she's the one that needs it, have her contact the boss and say, hey, my nephew Travis is open to working that day, and then I'm going to trade with him on Monday and Tuesday. Are you okay with that? And so then she came back and said it was actually the boss's idea. I was like, cool, now you just confirm with the boss
that's okay.
That's okay, right? And so that way, but we had to walk through that.
Yes,
because they didn't know. He don't know that stuff. They don't. And nobody
teaches
them
some skills that they're not getting in school.
No,
life skills are not taught in school.
Mm-mm.
And if you don't have a parent in the home that is helping them to get these crucial skills, forget about the economic side of it.
Right. We can't even get to the economic side because we got to get to a job,
Gloria,
right?
Thanks for chiming in, girl. We are waiting on Dr. Fraser to try to get his technology together.
Yeah, I hope he gets
and
his
join us here on the Business Zone.
Yes.
Dr. Gloria told me about meeting with Mr. Gilbert. Yes.
And he just popped in. He just came in. Welcome, Mr. Gilbert.
Welcome.
And every time I say that, I had a godmother, and her husband's name was Gilbert, and we had to call him, in those days, you called Mr. and Mrs. So every time I say that, so sometimes I go to say that and I catch myself.
So you think of me like your grandfather.
That's like an old guy. so I catch myself.
How are you guys doing today?
We're good, and you look good.
Thank you.
I hear today is National Compliment Day, so you look good.
Oh, thank you. Well,
Sam looks
I
good.
want to give you a compliment too. You look spiffy.
Thank you.
And so do you, Linda.
Thank you, sir.
And so do you, my Facebook audience, my Small Biz Pro. You guys look wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you guys for tuning in today, and we're going to have an amazing show. We're waiting for a special guest.
We are. So he's
Mr. Fraser.
Dr. Fraser, Dr. George Fraser. He's working on his Skyping stuff.
He's working on his Skyping skills, just like me.
Yeah.
So once we figure it out, we'll get him on the air. But I just went to a graduation of those teenagers, adolescents that I was coaching on how to develop their job skills. So they graduated from the program. A few of them got jobs, which is amazing.
Awesome.
And the food that they brought today, the food that was prepared today was by one of them, the company that he went to work for. Rinaldi? You ever heard of Rinaldi? It's a catering company.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it was amazing. So we did.
That is good.
So that's a success. That's a success.
Yes.
I serve from all over across the world, Mr. Senator.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Hi, Kane.
So thank you guys all for tuning in.
Yes.
Please, if you have any questions, you want to talk to us on the show, give us a call, 323-293-3375. I had a brain lapse there for a second.
Well, that is cool, and we were kind of talking about that on Facebook. Hello, everyone. Hello, Pamela. Hello, Michael, Alfred, and Kane.
Hello,
welcome
Gerald.
To the
welcome
show.
to the Business Zone.
We were kind of talking about that, making sure that our kids. Because George is going to talk about when he does come on.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about creating generational wealth,
right?
And that generational wealth is because we need to gear our children up so that we're creating wealth But I don't know if we can create that much wealth for them, but we do have to prepare them so that they can create that wealth for their children.
And one of the things that I heard a phrase at the event that I went to today. Hey, Larry, welcome to the Business Zone. I heard a phrase today, which I love. It says that our ceiling, that means the things that we achieve, the maximum level of what we can achieve right now should be the flooring for our kids. The flooring.
I like that.
That means if they're starting out at where we top off, then they only can take it to the next level and take it higher. So I love that phrase.
Love that. So start at the ceiling.
Yeah. Our ceiling should be their flooring.
Oh,
yes.
I like that.
I love
it. That. Yeah.
So it's amazing. So one of the things that we need to do as minority groups, African American, Latinos, Asians, what we should do is we should start teaching our kids entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Our parents really never taught us that, or maybe they did, but in their kind of way.
Right.
But not in a formal way.
Well, they were too busy doing it.
Yes.
To really teach us and show us that this is how it's done.
Yes.
We didn't go to work with them and be at the job with them and learn those skills.
So based on what we learn and what we know now, we should be able to teach our kids. Hey, JD.
And actually, if you stop to think about it, when you stop to think about it, though, our parents were looking to get jobs.
Yes.
Not careers.
Not careers. Entrepreneur.
Exactly.
And they were jobs to take care of their family. And they definitely weren't thinking of entrepreneurship. I remember, now I came from a family entrepreneur. Everybody knows that, right?
Yes.
But even though my mom was an entrepreneur, my grandfather, my grandmother, everybody, when I made the decision that I was ready to make my exodus from, she's like, are you sure? Like, come on, Mama, what you talking about?
You've been training me for all these years.
You've been training me to do this. She goes, yeah, but it's a good job. You have benefits. And what? If I'm working for myself, I can pay for my benefits.
Yeah.
She goes, oh, that's the point. But still, that safety net. But back in their time, it was all about getting good government jobs, right? In fact, when it sunk in so well, and we embraced that so well that during the S&L, remember the first recession, the S&L recession, where all the savings and loans bank.
Yes.
So we lost because all of us work in government jobs. We're city, counties, wherever we were. We went and got those jobs. So they laid off about 60 to 75% of our population. So we always get hurt. If it's a crisis, it's a tsunami for us.
Plus, at that time, when they laid us off because of that crisis, we also lost our money in that 401k scam that they had.
Right, the Enron.
So not only did we lose our jobs, but we also lost our life savings.
Yes.
So we had a double whammy right there.
We had a double whammy. So which
also impacted our homes.
And then the last recession in 2008, truly. That kind of wiped out the balance. One asset that we thought is an asset was our homes, but not really. That's not an asset because you owe on it. Yeah. And we also
not truly an asset until you don't own it.
Until you don't own it, right?
Until you're done paying on it.
It's yours when you no longer got a payment. And you just paying the property taxes. Other than that, it's not an asset. However, we thought that, and we did not understand. Or no one really clear, and this is, I think, what George is going to talk about, the fact, the literacy part, the financial literacy. Yes. We're thinking, it's our house.
Yes.
We can go get a refi, and we can get some money because it's our house, it's our equity, our money, right?
Yeah.
Right.
All we're doing is enslaving ourselves.
Yeah, so we didn't understand.
Yeah.
No. Right. That's a loan. You're loaning yourself. And they can take your house based upon that loaning of yourself. Even when you have the HOAs, they can take your house, right? If you don't pay your HOA. So it really doesn't belong to you.
Don't even get me started on that one.
So that's the literacy part. So while we're waiting for George, I don't know if he trying to come in, LaRon.
Yeah, once he gets in, we'll connect him. So in the meantime, I think this is a great topic for us to really put out there so our entrepreneurs can know. Now, we've been talking about this, and a lot of people have been going over it. We really want you guys to be serious about this today. We want you to start asking yourselves, what is it am I doing to teach my kids and my kids' generation how to be self-sufficient and not depend on the man. We don't want our kids going out looking for jobs unless they're working in the family business. We want them becoming entrepreneur and self-sufficient, because when you work for other people, you can't determine when you get a raise.
Hey there, Rashad.
You can't determine how you increase your revenues.
Oh, you can't determine if they're going to fire you or
You
not.
can't determine if they're going to fire you tomorrow or not, because especially with the state of California, the law said that they can fire you anytime they want for any reasons they want. You know, you can come in wearing a blue shirt and they go, I don't like blue shirts today. You're fired.
Oh, and look at the, there's two big stories that's in the news right now. One is women in natural hair.
Yeah.
There.
Oh, yes.
I think it was in Tennessee. Somewhere it was in
Texas, I think.
Texas.
Yeah.
Where the colonizers, we'll call them that for on the air, the colonizers all put together a petition.
Yeah.
For the African American women that were wearing their hair natural.
Yeah, that's
and
crazy.
they said that they all signed petitions that they felt it was not professional.
Yeah.
And it went to court, and a young lady who was wearing her hair natural actually lost the case.
Really?
Yeah, she lost the case.
Wow.
And so now she's going back to the Supreme Court to fight it.
That's a
Hi,
shocker.
Dr. Bernice, watching from Brazil. Wow, thank you for tuning in, Dr. Gloria's friend.
So today you guys have you've got a triple threat on the show today, the Business Zone. You got myself, Gilbert Buchanan, you're a small business paramedic. You got
Hey!
Crystal Mitchell, the dynamic bookkeeper and wealth builder.
And coach and speaker
And coach.
and all the things that you want to call me.
And we've got Miss Linda
The
Sam.
newly found expert in marriage.
Yes.
Marriage for 50 plus.
So she getting ready to launch her own show.
Yes.
So you got the dynamic trio here today.
Trio.
And we're really going to make things happen today. We're going to share, what we know about self-sustainability, building wealth. And we've got an expert, Dr. Fraser, George Fraser, who's going to be calling in on the phone.
Yeah,
and
go to Facebook and look him up. Dr.
Look him
George
up.
C. Fraser.
Is phenomenal. He's going to be calling in, and he's going to be sharing some of his expertise and how you, small businesses, can be self-sustainable.
Yeah, in fact, if we can't get him on, maybe we can just have him call in. So,
Yes. I will text him right now and tell him to call in.
yeah. And then we can talk about it because we can still bring him in.
Yeah.
So that was one thing, was the hair. But here is something, and I know George talks about this, and I know when he introduces the news he's going to share is all about this part of it. Mm-hmm. So there was a young man, I want to think he's in Texas, and he won he was in upstate.
In high school? Was he in high school?
No, this is a grown man.
Okay.
He won a discrimination suit for his company.
Yeah.
He took his check to the bank, his bank.
Oh, to go cash it, and they called the police.
They called the police and would not cash his check.
That is unbelievable.
And they said, because it said it was a discrimination, like they knew it was a discrimination suit.
See, we need to set the precedence, man. We need to file a lawsuit and sue them for like $1 billion when they do stuff like that, so they'll never do it again.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I mean, just thinking, you go to your bank
To cash your check
that you've been putting money in, and obviously you have some relationship. This wasn't a new bank. This was your bank.
Wow.
You going to where you bank at U.S.
Bank of the West.
Bank of the West.
Yeah.
I bank at Broadway Federal, so I know they're not going to do that.
Chase.
But Chase, you walk in with a check that you just was awarded through the courts, so it's all legal, and they tell you, I'm sorry, I can't cash this check for you.
Unbelievable.
And I'm going to call it. Why did they call the police?
Because he's black with a big check.
Girl, that make me mad.
You can't be black with a big check.
Yes.
That must be on the blue laws.
That is unbelievable.
No black. So I'm sure that's what George is going to talk about is, how do we deal with this?
Yes.
And
My
these are the
co-host,
questions
thank
we
you,
want to
Tori
ask him
Reese,
is,
for chiming in. I'm here with the Biz Zone today.
guys,
Studio.
Yeah, because that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's ridiculous.
That's like you taking a check from a client and
Yeah.
then, I'm sorry, I can't cash your check.
Yeah.
What, excuse
Well,
me?
it's kind of like my client right now. I have a client, and I want to put this out there on Facebook and everywhere. So I have a client right now, and I'm going to tell you their name. The name of the client is Frank Scotto Towing. Now, the original owner's name is Frank Scotto, so he's not the culprit here. He is innocent in this whole thing. He sold that company to a company to some guys named Van Lingen from Torrance, Van Lingen. Those guys, they assume a contract from Metro, and I was hired as a subcontractor for them. But we're talking a large amount of money, over $100,000. They signed a contract with me for me to help them so they can be in compliance with that contract. So I did my duty every week, every month, every day. They got paid from Metro. Then now they don't want to pay me.
Oh,
those
wow.
guys owe me over $80,000.
Oh, man.
Over $80,000. Don't want to pay. And they said, I'm not going to pay you. I'm not going to pay. I don't think you're worth it.
Wasn't there a contract in place?
There's a signed contract in place. But the reason I'm putting this out there is because Metro, this is a Metro contract, and Metro's policy is that the reason that they have subcontracts in place is to make sure that Prime sign contracts. And I'm telling you guys a story as a small business and as subcontractors that even though you're signing a contract with a Prime and with a contract provider like Metro, you guys need to make sure you have your attorney review that contract so that contract, that attorney can make sure that anything that goes down with this contract, they can take this to court and get it resolved. Because right now, Metro does not want to be a part of this, even though it's their contract. And the Prime does not want to pay.
Yeah, see, and again, but they take advantage of us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Thinking that we won't go to court, that we'll be afraid. So that's the thing.
They're trying to disenfranchise us.
Yeah, right. Making sure that we don't get what we work hard for, and we're more than qualified.
So I'm putting it out there to you, small businesses. I want you to know you're doing business with a Prime or client or whomever, and then they stop paying you and say, "Oh, you're not worth it." Be prepared to take them to court. Don't just roll over and let them do that to you. Okay?
Yeah, you can find an attorney who will take your case.
Take them to court right now, because that's what I'm doing. I'm taking these guys. Van Lingens, they're in Torrance. They're crooks.
You never can be, can't be too afraid.
And I've established a database, and I want all of you guys to know this. I'm establishing a database where all the unscrupulous subcontractors, will go in that database, and the Van Lingens are one of them. From Torrance. They're one of the few that's going to be in that database. They get contract awarded from Metro and the city of Los Angeles and the county, and they do not want to pay subcontractors. We got a call right now, so let's take care of this call.
Okay, well, they've been put on blast.
I put them on blast on behalf of you guys, too.
Hello, George. Well, we're back down to the regular old telephone.
There you go. There you go. We're low tech. We're not high tech yet. We're just low. Yeah, we're operating on low tech for now. It would just give us another couple of weeks. We'll be into the high tech zone.
Okay.
As long as we get the message out there, we can be low tech if we want to be.
So the caller
on our Facebook pages needs to go to the Business Zone on Facebook. Watching me here directly, you're not going to
go to the Business Zone on Facebook.
So go to the Business Zone.
Right.
The caller on the line is Dr. George Fraser, and he's phenomenal. So he's going to share some great words of wisdom with us. I'm hoping you guys can hear this conversation right now. Can they hear?
Yeah, they should be able to hear.
Yeah,
so let me tell you a little bit about him. Actually, George, 2 years ago, on about a week difference, you were actually on this show
Chicago.
2 years ago.
Wait a minute. Was it 2 years ago or a week ago? I'm confused.
Well, 2 years ago, you were on a call with us here in the studio. And then a year ago, you were actually here in the studio.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, too. But let me tell everybody a little bit about you, and then you're going to share in what is going on with Fraser Net and this great, big, incredible new project we have to...
Well, he can't give it all to him on the call because they need to come and see him next Friday.
Okay, well, he's going to give them enough to...
You got to give him
You're going to give them an appetizer, right, George?
That's right. No, we're going to give them an hors d'oeuvre. That's right.
We're going to give them an
They
hors
have to
d'oeuvre.
come. They have to come to the event to get a full meal.
There you go. And that's the way it's supposed to be.
That's right.
Dr.
That's right.
George Fraser is an entrepreneur, author, motivational speaker, an incredible networker, which is how I learned to network. I owe that all to you, George.
I'm the pro at it. I'm little George.
He was born in Brooklyn, New York in 1945 and one of 8 children to be born to Ida Mae Baldwin and Walter Frederick Fraser, and he graduated from Thomas Edison Vocational High School, attended New York University, and received his executive training at Dartmouth College, Amos and Tuck School of Business. He has been working tirelessly since I met him, which is probably a little over 30, a little under 30 years, on bringing us black folks together. You have not given up, and I think I've told George when I first met him, he was kind of cool and calm about it. Now he is like a bourbon no chaser.
Gangbusters.
He is like, we're going to drive this home because we got to drive this home. So he has written a book called Success Runs in Our Race and the Complete Guide to Effective Networking in the African American Community. His second book was Race for Success and the 10 Best Business Opportunities for Blacks in America. You've got 10 books that you've written, right? Somewhere like that.
Not quite. I've written 6 best-selling books.
Okay. So now,
6 best-selling books. Right.
He is known all over the world. Many of you have probably gone to the Power Network conference that happens every summer, which is absolutely phenomenal. There is no words to even describe it. You just need to get there.
4 days of business steroids.
On steroids from 7 in the morning to 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the nighttime. They don't give you time for breaks. You got to take your own breaks and hurry back because you'll miss something. So I just want to welcome you to the show, and we're excited to hear what's going on, and you're going to give us a little bit. One of the things before you called in, we were kind of talking about the generational wealth, and we just happened to mention the young man that tried to cash his check at the bank. He had won that discrimination suit. So we just need to talk about how do we as a people get out of this hole that we're in.
Let me say this and still be loved, and I'm going to unpack this when I come to your fair city next week, which I'm really excited about.
Yes.
It is one of my standard stops on my global tour every single year, multiple stops. So I can't wait. I can't wait to see all of my friends and family members there, and Barbara, of course, Linda, and who holds me accountable for everything. And one day she's going to make me technologically savvy. And I'm going to, and I'm 75 years old, so I'm praying for her. I'm rooting for Linda. So let me answer your question succinctly, and then we'll unpack it.
Okay.
When I'm there, the future of black people is not dependent upon how white people treat black people.
True.
The future of black people is dependent upon how black people treat black people.
That's true.
That's the key.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say that another way.
Got to team up.
I'll unpack it when I get there. White people will not be saving black people.
That's right.
White people are not even thinking about black people. Do you know who white people are thinking about? They're thinking about white people. They're thinking about their husbands, their wives, their children, their neighborhoods, their businesses, their communities, and your pockets. So they ain't thinking about you. Asians ain't thinking about you either, by the way, except for when they open up that Asian restaurant in the hood. In fact, if you go into an Asian restaurant and there are 4 brothers waiting on you, leave, because that's not a real Asian restaurant. Because Asians don't employ black people.
No, they
Asians
don't.
employ Asian people. right?
Yeah.
So you can't hate on them for that now, because that's what we ought to be doing. So, did I hit a bell there?
No. Somebody was calling Linda. She's good, though.
Right.
Need to learn how to put it on mute.
Yeah, just turn the volume down, all the way down.
Right. So the bottom line is we are going to save ourselves.
Yes.
There will be nobody saving us but us. Now, this is easy to say, very difficult to do, because for 40 years, as you said in my introduction, I have invested my time, talent, and treasure my entire life. I am a race man. A race man or a race woman is someone who has committed to investing their time, talent, and treasure back into their community to uplift their race first. That's a race man. And so my job, assigned to me by God, was to organize and connect black people of all socioeconomic statuses. Now, that's tantamount to be given an assignment to herd cats, okay? So I have done a decent job at it after writing 6 best-selling books on the subject, putting on, for 19 years, what Forbes called one of the top 5 conferences in America not to be missed, the Power Networking Conference. And I still have, at 75 years old and an elder, I still have, another 75 years of work.
Oh,
now,
wow.
I am not going to live another 75 years. That would make me 150, so I am passing the responsibility of this to Linda and Barbara and Letitia and all of my friends in Los Angeles. They will take it as far as they can take it, and then they will pass the baton, because I'm building the infrastructure for it, right?
Yes.
They will pass the baton on to the succeeding generation, and then the succeeding generation will continue to pass this baton to complete this task for the next 10 generations, because it will take, about 100 to 150 years to get our people in their right mind, because most black people are out of their mind. I mean, come on now. We have to speak some truth to power. Negroes are out of their mind because we have gone through a psychological holocaust, second to none in the history of humankind. So for 350 years, we have been told by our enslaver that we weren't nothing, that we were swinging in trees and eating bananas.
Yeah.
That they civilized us. They captured us and they civilized us. They educated us. Of course, they lied to us. We do know that. And anybody that's ever gone to Egypt knows that 5,000 years before Christ, you can still see the pyramids of Giza and walk through the Valley of Kings and look on the walls, and you will see black people of all different shades, because Egypt is in Africa. It's not in the Middle East. Therefore, it was Africans that built Cairo.
Right.
And so they lied to us. And in fact, we civilized the world first, right?
Yes.
And they tried to flip this. So they drove us crazy. And so we are out of our minds, and we're still trying to figure our way back. That will take another 150 years. That will take another, at least 7 more generations. But we are getting it started, right? Mm-hmm. We are standing on the shoulders of giants, for sure. We are drinking from wells that we did not dig, right? So we must do the work that our forefathers and ancestors fought and died for. And we just, we need to continue to be busy. And my brothers and sisters in Los Angeles are busy. They ain't busy enough, but they are busy. At least the woke ones and the conscious ones are the ones that tend to gather around almost anything that Barbara Lindsay does, and Linda Morgan and all my friends in L.A. So we have work to do. That's all I'm really trying to say. We have good work to do, plenty of work to do. There's plenty of money to be made. There's plenty of minds to fix and change. And there's plenty of love to give and plenty of love to be had. I'm going to close this rant. I'm going to close this little rant with an Asian fable. Now, an Asian fable or fable is really a story using inanimate objects to make a moral point. Okay? Mm-hmm. Africans are famous for fable-like sayings. For example, a famous African saying, when you tie up a lion, when spiders unite, they can tie up a lion, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm going to give you one that you're going to think about for a couple of months, all right? Okay. And you may get it or you may not get it, but it is 5 miles deep, and you're going to have to think about this. Okay. So this is a fable. It's an Asian fable that describes the state of Black America, I think, perfectly. Here we go. The forests were shrinking, but the trees kept voting for the axe. For the axe was clever and convinced the trees that because his handle was wood, he was one of them.
Wow. Okay. That's deep.
That's deep, right?
That is.
Now, I will spend a couple of days in Los Angeles unpacking that for our brothers and sisters. But we have a lot of work, and it's good work, and there are a lot of good brothers and sisters, woke brothers and sisters in Los Angeles, conscious brothers and sisters in Los Angeles to do this work. So by the time I leave 2 days later, my friends and family in L.A. will have an assignment. It will be very specific. It will be very measurable, and it will be very achievable, and it will be very compatible with the overall long-term goals of Black people living in a racist America. Okay?
That is amazing. That is amazing.
Let me ask this, George. So you travel all over the country and
all over the world, baby.
All over the world.
To Africa.
Right, yeah, right, all over the world. So, what is the general temperature? I do a lot of work here in Los Angeles within my community as the co-director of Recycling Black Dollars, and I kind of have my finger on the pulse here. But what is that temperature around the country as far as us coming together to unite? Because it's going to require all of us coming. I think that's the biggest challenge, is how do we get us all on the same page? Because even we all have, like 20 of us are working on the same come together, creating wealth. But if we're all doing it in our own individual silos, we get nothing done. So what's that general temperature around the country?
Oh, that's a great question. And I have a succinct answer for it.
Okay.
I'll say it 3 different ways. Each way will take no more than 5 seconds. People will not change when they see the light. People will change when they feel the heat. Mm. You will never change that which you tolerate, and you will only change when you get angry. Black people are angry. Black people are feeling the heat, and we are in an existential crisis. Make no mistake about it. All the statistics have been reported, all the trends, especially when it comes to economics. Again, I will unpack this when I get there. The most recent, by the Institute of Policy Studies, the state of Black America's, the economic state of Black America, And the closing paragraph of that 300-page report surmised our state with this statement. By 2053, 20 years after white America becomes the minority, if nothing changes, black household wealth, median wealth, will be zero. White median wealth will be $257,000. So, in effect, what they're saying to us, by 2053, we're talking, 40 years? 40,
right.
Yeah.
About
30
something years, yeah.
Yeah. If we don't fix this economically, because we're at the bottom of every single economic statistic that matters in America, we will essentially work our way into a second slavery. All right? Try to operate in a market-based economy, democratic capitalistic society without money. It's not possible. So, what I'm saying to you is there are more woke people, brothers and sisters, than I've ever seen at this passage and stage and period in our life, 400 years of life in America. People are angry. People are getting smarter. People are getting financial education. We're coming out of this financial illiteracy state of being that we were in. And there's stuff going on in every community focused on the most important subject for the 21st and 22nd century for black people, and that's economics. Economics must become the new black power. And we are now, at least a critical mass is. When I say a critical mass, let me just be candid with you. A critical mass of about 2.5 million. About 2.5 million brothers and sisters out here who are focused on economics, focused on financial education, who understand that without making this the next big fight, because the 4 fights that we had before we have achieved, and that would be freedom, civil rights, voting rights, and public access. Well, we are free, and we have those rights. Now what? We just ain't got any money.
Right.
And whatever money we have, it is not recycled properly, as you well know.
Right.
It is squandered. And let me say it simply. The goal is to win, not to look like we're winning. I would rather carry a plastic bag with $5,000 in it than to carry a Louis Vuitton bag with $100 in it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That means you ain't winning. Louis Vuitton is winning. Nike is winning. Gucci's winning.
Words
right?
of wisdom.
Ferragamo's winning. Right? Armani is winning. We ain't winning.
Yeah. Words
right?
of wisdom. Words of wisdom.
That's right. We are the consumption class. They are the merchant class.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They make stuff. We buy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's beginning to change. And there is a real focus by a large number of righteous thinking black people, and I'll explain that to you in a minute, that will make a difference over time. So that's A. B. After 75 years of living and 40 years of service, 40 years of service to black people, I have come to a new conclusion about black people.
Okay.
Okay? I call it my 85-10-4-1 rule.
85-10 what?
4-1. 85-10-4-1.
Yeah. Okay, so let me break it down for you. It'll take less than a minute.
Okay.
85% of black people are sleepwalking through life. 10% are pimping the sleepwalkers. 4% have pulled themselves out of that dark, sunken place and are ready to see the light. 1% are the light, and they're ready to help the 4% get woke. So let's do the math on that. There are 49 million black people currently in America. Those are the ones that we can count, all right? Now, if 4% are ready, that's about 2.1 million. If 1% or the like. That's about 500,000. So that means there are about 2.5 million brothers and sisters spread out across this country who get it and who are into it and who are working it and are creating and using the tools necessary to mitigate the existential crisis that black people are facing. Existential simply means our existence as we know it in this country is in deep jeopardy. This is what all the studies say. This is not what George Fraser says. This is not hyperbole. This is statistical, trending, rich data analysis. Now, they have more data on Negroes than we have on them because we consume the most.
Exactly.
And so every time you buy something, they can track that, and they can see all of the trends, and they report this to you if you want to read it.
Yeah,
So
I've read some of that.
Say. That's what the trends say. You got till 2053 to fix it. If not, you will have no money.
Now, there's a question that we've gotten from one of our viewers, and he asked, what do you think of the role of licensed financial advisors should be in this movement? And he also says we as African-American people black people are skeptical to vehicles like insurance or professional advice. So how do we proceed with that? And I do know that's one of the projects that you've been working on is the 1 million babies.
Yeah. $1 million babies. $1 million babies.
Right.
Yes. And we have also developed the WINS Wealth Building Centers and Curriculum. We're installing in large churches in the faith-based community. Hope to have about 10,000 of those free wealth building centers with a system and a curriculum in the next 12 to 13 years. We've got many already installed. We're looking for a leading church or several churches in Los Angeles to install the Wealth Building Center. So that's one of the steps, because everything begins with literacy. All right. The second big thing we did, as you know, last year at the Power Networking Conference, we launched our own nation, Fraser Nation, Citizens of Generational Wealth. And in there, and with our curriculum, we emphasize the 4 pillars for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. First being the proper management of accumulated wealth. Second being real estate. Third being business ownership. And fourth being proper insurance. Proper insurance. So, 60% of all wealth is transferred through strategic and tactical placement of proper insurance, so you can transfer your wealth tax-free. Right? So insurance is a critical piece. It's one of the cornerstones for the intergenerational transfer of wealth. But of course, black people don't have a clue about insurance.
Sorry about that.
Most black people are either uninsured or underinsured. I'm not saying that there aren't black people who are properly insured. Yes, they are, right? But of the 49 million of us, well, let me just give you a quote from the New York Times. The New York Times did a major piece on black people and cell phones. And here's what they found. There are more black people have insurance on their cell phones than on their lives or the lives of their children by a factor of 10. Wow. So we consider our cell phones are more important to insure than our own lives and the future of our children.
That's pretty powerful.
That's how out of our minds we are. I said we were out of our minds.
Yeah, that's pretty powerful that we insure our phones more than we should insure we should be our most treasured asset is our children and our own lives. That's absolutely amazing. Our priorities truly need to shift in the right direction. But I do know that just with some of the crazy things that have taken place here in Los Angeles, even with Nipsey Hussle leaving, but the power or what he had achieved while he was here quietly, but it has sparked a light under many of individuals that no longer, they were very skeptical and figured, well, it's not affecting me in my personal life, so why should I care? So with him doing what he has done, it seemed to have, here in Los Angeles, seemed to have sparked a few. We got a lot of work to do. And so I have a question on our political representatives that have done a lot of selling of us out. How do we address that?
Ask me that question again.
My question is, with the political individuals that are sitting at the table making decisions for the population of black people, and we usually don't find out, we're normally on the menu, but we don't find out we're on the menu until it's too late. How do we address that?
Well, I'm going to oversimplify because I don't want to give away all my thunder on the radio. See, there's about 6 of my brothers and sisters going to show up because they don't got everything they need, right?
Right.
So my sarcastic, but I say with a smile on my voice, is stay out of the damn news, because the news in America is defined as those things that are the exception, right?
Yeah.
So people murdering, houses burning, crashes, robberies, deceit.
Killings.
That's the stuff that makes the news. Generally, we know that good stuff that's not news.
Yeah.
Nobody's interested in good stuff.
No, that's
right?
very, very
There's a few
true.
exceptions. So I just want to say to my stay out of the news. Because generally speaking, if you in the news, it's bad. If a Negro is in the news, are you kidding me? That ain't good.
Yeah, that's not good.
Well, George, I'm excited about you coming here and launching and talking about Fraser Nation to my brothers and sisters here in Los Angeles. Of course, I come to the conference every year, so I was there for the birth of Fraser Nation. But most people don't know what you're coming here to talk about. They think, oh, I've heard George many, many times that he's come here. I'm telling them, you have not heard this information that is sweeping the nation right now about Fraser Nation.
That's right. We just birthed the nation 6 months ago.
Exactly.
Right? So they couldn't have heard about it unless they were there. Now, if they were there, they were blown away. If they were not there, they ain't got a clue.
Right? Yeah. And
we're not out, trying to have everybody know. Now, let me just be candid with you, right? Because our nation, with our own flag, right, ain't for everybody.
That's true.
It's not for everybody. Marcus Garvey, as bad as he was in the early 1900s, with 3 million or 5 million people joining his movement, and he didn't have no internet. He said, even himself, his movement was not for all black people.
That's true.
All right? So this Fraser Nation is not for everyone. Mm-hmm. It's for people who think like us.
Yeah.
People who want what we want and will be proactive in securing it. That's who it's for, and we know that's not 49 million black people.
Right.
Right? So we don't want any old damn body in our nation.
Told you about the relationship. Right?
Yeah, it's important to have the right people making sure that the movement moves forward.
That's right.
Yeah, you can't.
You don't want any old damn body in your life.
Nope.
Right?
Nope.
You want people in your orbit that think like you, that are doing good and righteous things and understand service, understand love, understand commitment, understand work ethic, understand obedience and discipline. Right? So that's what we're looking for. And those who will come out and see me as I talk about it next week will be those kind of people.
Yeah, no, that's very, very true. I'm going to tell them a little bit about when you're going to be here, so that they can all start signing up. So, Dr. Fraser will be here to talk about networking to create generational wealth, connecting the dots with the people of African descent worldwide. He is introducing to us, for those of us that wasn't at the Power Networking Conference, Fraser Nation. It's going to be Thursday, January 30th, 2020. And it starts at 6 o'clock, 6 to 9:30. It's at the Crown Plaza Hotel, which is 5985 West Century Boulevard. You can get your tickets. Admission is $30 after the 25th, which is tomorrow. It goes up to $40, and VIP is $75. You can get your tickets at Eventbrite under Fraser Jan 30 eventbrite.com, and ticket information you can call 310-498-3783 or email lindsay1910@gmail.com to get more information. You guys want to come out. If you're thinking like we're thinking and you're on the path to change our existence right now, our current existence, and be less crazy, as George says, then you need to get there, because we need you. We cannot do this, and Dr. Fraser cannot do this alone. None of us can do this alone. It requires all of us of like-mindedness that are sick and tired of being sick and tired to make some change.
Absolutely. And then he's going to be Friday morning at the City Club for breakfast. That's from 7:30 to 9:30. If you know about the City Club downtown LA, that's on 5th and Flower, you must RSVP by calling the club, and you can reach out, Google, go to City Club LA, call in the number, and make your reservations for breakfast. Both of these events, we've given you both evening and morning, so there will be no excuses after next weekend when he has come and gone that you didn't know about it.
Well,
I'm on Facebook, Crystal, Gilbert, Barbara Lindsay. We have all the information on all of our pages on Facebook.
Dr. Fraser, we really want to thank you for calling in today and sharing your massive words of wisdom with us. This is something really going to ponder over that Asian phrase that you talked about. I really do think a lot of what you're saying is really valid for now, and we really should implement a lot of this. So our time is out right now. So how do we get a hold of you? You want to let our audience know?
Sure. Anyone that wants to connect with the things that are important to this movement, this nation movement, they can go to One Fraser Nation. One Fraser Nation. One Fraser Nation. That's ONE. OneFraserNation.com. That's one way. They can go to PowerNetworkingConference.com, www.PowerNetworkingConference.com.
Hey, Lisa,
Perfect. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Fraser. Linda and Crystal is going to be connecting with you real soon so they can finish doing your work for you, spreading the word.
Right. And it's really about, if you care about your children and your grandchildren and your great-grandchildren, and you want them to have a world 30-something years from now, everybody needs to get on board and get involved. It's not about us. We're kind of past and gone, and nothing's going to change for us right at the present moment. But we can make a conscious effort to change this world so that our kids have a better place to live in. I would hate to see my nephews, and I don't have children, but I would hate to see my nephews and my great-nephews with zero income. I don't even know what that looks like. I would be speechless if that was the case, especially as hard as I have worked in this community. And those of you that have also put and shared and committed to your community, we can't let this happen. So we want to see you next Thursday, January 30th. So Dr. Fraser will really unpack it and really give it to you. Bourbon, no straight, no chaser, because that's where we are right now. And we look forward to seeing you guys out there.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate you. Thank you.
All right, now.
See you next Thursday.
Thanks.
All right, now.
Bye-bye.
So that was Dr. George Fraser, and he's a phenomenal speaker, and as well as he is an economist, and He's got an event on the 30th, January 30th. And if you guys can make it, please check it out. It'll make you think about your business, and it'll make you think about life a little differently. Again, I want to say this because we're out of time right now. I want to say this. Our ceiling, whatever we made, the most of what we generate in this lifetime, that should be the ceiling for us, but that ceiling should be the flooring for your kids and their grandkids. Okay? Or their kids, I should say.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right?
All right.
Keep that in mind. So you've been watching The Business Zone with
Crystal.
Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic, and our very special guest, Miss Linda.
Sam.
Okay.
See y'all later.
So we'll all see you guys next Thursday.
Next-
For George, and
Right.
then you'll be back here at the same channel at 3 o'clock next week for the Business Zone. And next week we have a bottle of wine we're giving away for the Zonkly, so we want you to call in. And Dr. Carter, MJ Duffy, will be back in February to talk about her book. She was here last week, so check out that show. And so we're out.
We're out.
And we will see you guys
See you
next
again
week.
next week at 3 o'clock on the Business Zone or Facebook Live.
Thank you.
Thank you.
As a small biz pro, I saw we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, I saw we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.